welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate. This is episode 122. We are going to be covering the FO meta analysis because FO is still prominent, even if JJ and Alex think they are the third from the bottom. But tonight we are going to be continuing our Academy 101 series, reviewing FO meta lists, talking a little bit about how to play them, what to do with them, and how to compete against them if you are not Han. Also tonight, we're going to cover a few store champs. We have a few local, kind of local-ish ones in America, and then there was this a semi-large one, larger one that happened overseas that we're going to cover that I thought would be a fun time as well. And if that wasn't enough, I decided I wanted to cover a little bit about CIS and Scum. So tonight we are going to kind of bring in and talk a little bit about CIS and Scum and why they don't have top meta lists and why they're ranked at the bottom of our ranking analysis. Without further ado, let's bring in my co-host for tonight. Please welcome the bench warmer himself, Mr. Alex. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. I see you guys didn't dress up in Halloween things like I did.
We did not. I'm
Tragic.
wearing the quintessential I don't know. I'll get back to you what I am. I'm the quintessential bourbon guy. There you go. That's what I'll be tonight.
And JJ is trying to cosplay as a winning NFL team.
Well, he has at least one of the team's logos on. I don't know what that other logo is. Is that even a Giants like jersey?
It's their newer it's the newer logo that they featured, or the uniform that they played last week. So yeah.
All right. Well, it seems kind of silly. Also joining us tonight is JJ, the Lions fanatic. How are you tonight, sir?
Doing all right. I got to play at a store championship that unfortunately didn't reach 16 players. I did that yesterday over in the Battleground store over in Richmond, Virginia. Got to play with quite a few people that were over there, including Duncan Howard, who was present there, as well as a lot of other players like Chris Taylor and such. It was a great time. I actually saw one particular list that was my final match that had a particular combo that I did not see coming, and it was a lot of fun. It was Adi Galia, the Delta 7 version with outmaneuver, and then Hawk that had Yoda, and being able to take a range 3 shot with Adi Galia with outmaneuver basically reduces your agility by 2. And then as she comes in closer to Hawk, that gives her the rerolls, and then also can regenerate her force to prevent her range 1 bonuses from going against her. Man, that's a nasty combo, but it's nice.
That sounds fun. I did not get to play X-Wing. I did play my league game on Saturday, and Sunfac almost died in one shot and then ran away. And then I should have banked my LeHughes not into the Sunfac arc, but I didn't think they would one heart Sunfac barrel roll behind an obstacle to get the bullseye range 1 shot. I didn't think they would do that because 1 health left, you go through that obstacle, you get like what, a 50% chance you die.
If it's debris, yeah.
I will tell you, a range 1 Kylo into Grievous is super fun. A Kylo Whisper is so much fun. Range 1 bullseye into Grievous, like people say Grievous live forever, but I'll tell you what, 4 hits, like does not feel like a Grievous wanted to live. That was a half points on Grievous right there. Now,
tell them to flip up 3 of them.
No, because so I have an interaction. So we're going to start with a little rules question, right? And I'm going to do this just for my edification. And I play CIS all the time. I've never had this happen. So Kylo Whisper, you could spend a force for a ship in your bullseye to flip that card as a crit, correct? Yes.
Sort of.
Yes,
basically.
it will be when a card would be dealt face down, you can spend a force to deal it face up, essentially. Yes.
Yes.
Keyword is instead.
Yes. Yeah. So we actually had an interaction where we said, do we want to flip the cards up or not because of how the Grievous interaction works?
Yeah, with Impervium, you'd flip it, you'd discard it.
So it was a very interesting interaction. I was down on points anyway, so some of it really kind of was the Hail Mary type thing. But, that was just kind of the funny thing. That was a rules question, so that kind of came up. I did not know the answer to that one, and so I guess now later on now I do. But it was a fun game. It was a 20-11. If Sunfac hadn't been able to shoot LaHughes, and T81 didn't kill LaHughes, I would have won the game. But because Sunfac could throw, range 1 bullseye dice into LaHughes, there was not a way to keep LaHughes alive. So between that and Dirge and T81, I lost LaHughes and lost 20-17. But Sunfac died, and Dirge lived. So even if a Dirge had died, so Dirge, of course, Dirge gets the direct hit, right? To live on, and one of the pilot crits at the end too. It's like, oh great, And it's funny because I think I should have triggered it the time before I attacked Grievous. I should have shot right into him instead. But it's just so tempting with range 1 Kylo bullseye.
Yeah.
Is just so dirty. I love Whisper Kylo, I'll tell you that. That is one of my favorite ships.
I had a similar conundrum in my loss in my store championship yesterday. It came down to my Vader versus a Grievous, and I had the opportunity to my opponent wanted to get a kill shot on my Vizier and had to barrel focus, and he got into range 1 of my Vizier, which I was able to Seven Sister Tractor, and instead of barreling him back to force him to rotate if he wanted to, that would have put him into Vader's arc, and I instead boosted him forwards, which I thought would put him outside of my front arc, or outside of to arc dodge essentially. But I ended up pulling him away from Vader, and that gave him still the range 1 shot that killed my Vizier. And I'm like, and I just needed to get, I think, 2 more damage on the Grievous to kill him, and I was able to successfully stop my crits from hitting him, and the one crit that got through was a pilot crit, so he couldn't impervium it. But man, it was so close, man. I could have it felt like it slipped away from me.
Well, and I'll tell you, I forgot how much fun it is to play Grievous. I like Grievous more than I think I should. So all right, well, enough chitter chatter. On to the show. So JJ had an interesting question he posed in our prefix chat. I don't know what we call it, like the pre-show.
The pre-show, yeah.
But it's not really a pre-show. It's just me testing audio levels and bitching at JJ because he's never keeps the setup the same. So I don't know. I don't know if it's really a pre-show chat. Did I say prefaces? Is that what you were going to say, Alex?
Yes, a preface.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, and something that I brought up last night on the Nickel City Discord, was the psychology of a player who's interested in going into a store championship tournament and taking a look at the amount of signups, right? So essentially, the scenario would be that let's say that you're planning to attend, and the night before, or you're thinking about attending the store championship, you check the login, which would be either Roll Better, or it would be Longshanks, yeah. And you take a look at the player count, and you see that the player count is at 11 or 12 players, and you're still on the fence on whether or not you're going to go. Do you feel that if you saw that number be closer to 16 players, that you would more likely go, or feel like you would go because you feel like that you have a good chance of playing with 16 players, versus if it was still that same number the night before?
Well, I think our Alex and my answer are probably going to be a little bit different, but our home situations are also different. So for me, if I see it at 12 or 13, I would probably still go anyway because I've already bargained time for the wife. But if I see it under 10, if it's not within a half hour, 45 minutes of my house, maybe an hour, I probably would not go, only for the pure fact that if I'm under 10 or 10 or less, like 10 or less, the probability we're gonna hit 16 is almost nil, right? But if they're at 12 or 11, or if it's close to me and I've already got the time committed, I'm gonna go, because it's like, for me, the fact of playing with other people and hanging out with people is fun. Like, I still enjoy the game. I'm not here just solely for a store champ world's ticket, which God only knows if I'm going to get to go this year or not because of my daughter, right? So I want the store champ just for the prestige, but outside of like I'm not as disappointed right now with not having one, for the pure fact that I don't even know if I could go, and I would hate to take that seat from somebody else. So like, if I win one, or like am on the verge of winning one or something, like, I have to have that honest conversation with my wife saying, hey, like can I commit to this time frame, because that's a big thing for me. I may still go to Adepticon for like a day or two, even if I don't have the world's invite, just to hang out with people, kind of like what Greg did. So like this year, I may not go. If I don't have the world's invite, I may not go down on Thursday to play in the last chance qualifier. I may just go like Friday afternoon, casually drive down there, and then be there Friday and Saturday, and then leave on Sunday, and just hang out with people instead, and pull the we'll call it the best bin bench warmers beer ratio. Like, then I don't have to worry about playing, and I could start drinking at 9 or 10 a.m. if that's healthy or not, I don't know. But I think I could start earlier, and I don't have anywhere to go, and I have people to hang out with and see, and it would be just a for fun type thing, you know. So in my the long answer to your question that was supposed to be a short answer is, if it's under 10 and it's over an hour, I don't go. If it's within an hour-ish of my home, and it's over, 11 or 12, I'm going to go anyway, whether they hit 16 or not, period.
Okay. Alex?
I show up pretty much no matter what, because I already committed to doing that time. It sucks when you don't get 16 people, especially if you had super close and then people just bail, which happens, which is very frustrating. But I like playing this game in person.
So let me change one dynamic now. Now, if you're a tournament organizer now, and you're trying to attract players to attend a store championship, so that way you can get more people playing and give out an invite, for the store championship kit, would you now be more incentivized to artificially inflate your numbers up to the day of in order to attract players to go in to get those people who might be on the fence?
Are you is this like a legal question? Can I go to jail for this?
No, it's simply having placeholders sign up on your tournament event, and then the day of you remove the placeholders.
So the answer is yes, I support that. Again, I still think there's got to be a threshold piece. So like right now, we have one in Zealand coming up here in Grand Rapids area, on the 11th of November. I think there's only one person that might be an inflated person on there. But outside of that, like I'm at 9 people. I probably wouldn't add 5 other people to it. To inflate it that far.
Yeah, no, I'm not advocating to say, oh yeah, you're going to set up a tournament and automatically fill in 16 spots, just artificially. No, I'm talking about like, you are, as a tournament organizer, you have 2 to 3 days before the event, and you only have 9 or 10 signups. Do you go in, add in 3 placeholders on there to, make people say, hey, you know what, we're getting close to that 16 player threshold. Maybe I should sign up because we have a good chance of people actually showing up and like getting this done, getting launched with 16 players. Would you consider doing that as a tournament organizer in order to get more people to come?
Maybe not at 9, but if I was at like 11 or 12, yes, I would add a few people on there. Absolutely. But I will tell you, there is a negative to that, right? The negative piece of that, JJ, right, is if we have if we have a 16 cap and you add 4 people, like that's almost a guarantee. If somebody, like people go, oh, I see we're almost at 16, or people do sign up. They're like, oh, we're at 16. I was going to go, but now we're at 16. I'm not going to go. There is a negative piece to that. I think for me, the bigger thing is not adding the people to inflate it a lot. Maybe adding 1 or 2 is fine. But 4 or 5 is probably out of my, I would not do that. I would be more on the brink of saying, hey, I have some people that would like to sign up, but do not want to go unless we fill these spots. Therefore, I'm not going to add them today, but they're willing to go if we could drive enough people into home. And once I hit 12 or 13, then I feel a little bit more comfortable saying, yep, I'll add a few people. But I don't want to deter people from not going. So for example, Alex is a great example. If Alex is like, I could stay home and get drunk, or I could go try and make sure Tanner doesn't get his invite. Though we haven't played each other at all this year, weirdly enough. But Alex could do that because he could be like, I'm going to run Torkoal Much just to piss Tanner off. And if you do that, I will disqualify you. I will make sure we never play, just as an FYI. But anyway, if all right,
it's meta now.
You're right.
I have a list.
I hate you. I hate you so much. I don't want to also discourage people from wanting to go, right? And I don't want to fill that up because if somebody like Alex goes, I'm kind of busy, I'd rather go see like this concert, or I have friends that are going to be in town. But Alex wants to go help things out. Alex wants to be there and commit to things when he can to help boost those numbers to get as many people Worlds invites as possible. The issue becomes is if Alex sees we're at 16, is Alex going to go out of his way and come if he really could be doing other things, unless he wants to ruin my day? I don't think he would. And, like, that's the thing is if people see that, are they going to be more deterred from showing up?
That's true. That's true. Now, I do know that there are a couple of people that have that already have their invites that have gone in to support the tournament by being present to help fill the numbers, and then they just do like a 0-1 drop or 0-2 drop, and they'll play a full game and then they'll concede at the end just to ensure that the other player that they're playing does have a shot of winning on there. I've seen people do that. I don't really have a good or bad feeling about that, honestly. I mean, it's cool that they're trying to support somebody else to try to get their invite. But if I was a player who already had an invite and I'm going there to support a store to make sure that it does reach that threshold, I would absolutely still attend and try to help somebody else win and get their invite. And in the end, we're still playing next week, we're still having fun.
What's your thoughts, Alec?
Yeah, as a TO, I wouldn't like myself put in some like people. I'd probably ask my friends to be like, hey, even if you're on the fence, throw your name into this tournament, and then you guys can drop the day up or whatever if need be. But I just even if you're 30%, you're going to go, just sign up, and that might encourage other people to go. But I'm not going to like just start making accounts and throwing stuff in there, But yeah, I mean, just to help out a store or whatever, try to convince some people to sign up. Hopefully they show up. Most likely they won't.
Yeah, I think too, if you think about it, if the cost of the tournament is lower, right? Like, are you more inclined to want to go like for $10? You're probably not gonna have much. Like, what else are you gonna do for $10 other than see a movie? And even then, you can't really see a movie even for $10 nowadays, unless you get no popcorn and bring your own soda in your purse. Which I don't have a purse, though. I have been considering carrying like a small man bag purse just for soda. Like, it's expensive, man.
Satchel.
Like, holy crap. We went and saw the Five Nights at Freddy's movie this weekend with the kids. And I was like, hey, it's 4:00. You guys had lunch at 1. We don't need popcorn. Oh, Dad. Like, but no one's going to eat it. All right, can we get slushies? All right, yeah, that's fine. And $6 a piece. I'm like, So just like it's $20 for the 3 of us in concessions minimum. And then, almost $20, $25 to go see the movie. So you're not going to find much fun, I don't think, for $10. I don't know. $10 is pretty cheap fun nowadays, in my opinion. But $25, I don't know. Alex, are you in on the $25, $30 tournaments too?
That was the tournament last week.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
But
I
also
thought they
that
were only
included
$10.
lunch, so
Oh, they get okay. Well, that's different because you got
yeah.
lunch.
If you get some perks and it's like $25, then yeah. If it's like $25 and that's just the tournament and there's not like a crazy amount of prize support, that's a little iffy.
Yeah. I think JJ's frozen. That's my
Nope.
theory. You know. Nope. Okay. You are sitting insanely still.
If he stays still for long enough, he'll just turn invisible.
I was doing my best Sakuni Mario imitation, turn into a statue.
All right. Well, I don't know what is there something else you wanted to discuss on that topic?
No, I think it's something that we should, and in general, right, for a lot of players or a lot of stores that are struggling right now to fill up the tournaments to get the max amount or to get the minimum amount in order to get those invites out there. It's just something that I've seen talked about in various discords, and it's a little concerning, right? And honestly, there's a whole thing that should have been done from the get-go for these invites for the store kits that probably would have made it a little bit easier for people to have access to it. But it is what it is where we're at right now. And honestly, I think that one of the other facets of why people aren't showing up there is because of the way the meta is currently right now. It is not solved by any means, but we do see, especially when we look at our pattern analyzer segment, a lot of the things that we keep on seeing repeats that are winning are the Han list or the ARC list. Every once in a while you'll catch CIS or the occasional scum or resistance that'll make the top and win it all there. But you're still facing a good majority of those Han lists and ARC lists that people may not have the patience to go through. And they kind of don't want to just they go with the intention of trying to make it there, and when they run into those roadblocks that they haven't figured out how to beat, it kind of discourages them from trying. So honestly, I think that we're due for a points change just to shake things up, or at least to fix some of the current problems that we have in the meta. But yeah.
Sherman, you are incorrect. You are not correct in your statement. So I think that's a good segue. Let's move in to our next segment. Kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit tonight. We last week, if you haven't checked it out, go check out our show last week. We had a ranking analysis last week where we talked about where we would rank all the different factions. And with that being said, we felt that Scum and CIS have kind of been towards the bottom when it comes to tournament play, especially larger tournaments like World Qualifiers. In World Qualifiers, we're not seeing CIS and Scum turn up as a whole, winning everything all at once, all the time. Now, granted, there is some nuance to this discussion, right? Like the nuance here is that, you have dice that favor in both good and bad. You have, some lists that are really good matchups into other lists that are not good into, certain other faction metas, right? And I think we have to be careful a little bit around that. But I could say, based on the numbers, we are not seeing CIS and Scum take down very much. And great. I'm glad other people's records inside of a league are fine. And no offense, Sherman, but inside of the league that are structured too differently versus a random matchup, I don't disagree with you. They have merit. I think the different piece is that we aren't seeing the numbers demonstrate that. My personal experience, and yes, I'm not the best X-Wing player either, is that the CIS lists struggle compared to some of the other lists. I could pick up a Han list and my win rate goes to 60, 70%. A CIS list, I actually got to work at it. Like, I have to work a little bit harder to ensure I'm going to get my wins. And for the most part, I've been, 3-1, 2-1-1, that type of stuff. So it's not like I'm on the bottom tier with CIS. And Alex has been the same way. Alex has had 3-1 experiences across the board with his Scum list. but the variety the variety is not there. A, and B, the issue becomes is that we have some different styles of lists that are harder to beat with those factions. There isn't an how about this? There is not an auto win or an almost auto win for either Scum and CIS.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, kind of what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about what is the faction missing, right? What is it missing? And I make this judgment a little bit because I say we have two factions that are the only factions to have fire sprays, right? And we have three factions with Falcons, and two out of the three factions with Falcons have seen Falcon success across the board, right? Great. We have not seen fire spray success across the board. It's there. And I think AMG was, in my opinion, AMG was scared. That's my personal opinion on that. But I feel that people talk about the fire sprays being like a bigger issue, and AMG has kind of done the same thing FFG did, is they only fix certain things versus a complete overhaul of other aspects. So if the fire spray shouldn't boost, we should just nerf the boost. If the fire spray shouldn't have a front back arc, we should make it a turret arc. There's lots of things you could do that they have not done, that they could do, and give me 1 point, drones. They could do, and it would be, help out the faction a little bit. So that's kind of my question, and we'll start with Alex, right? Is what are these two factions missing? Is there something they're missing in terms of ships? Is it points? What is it? What do you feel it is?
For Scum, mostly what I can uh, have any sort of legitimate opinion in. I don't play CIS nearly as much as I want to. I still have opinions on that, but from just playing Scum a lot, they need a small base, 3 attack die gun that doesn't need to exist at range 1. They need like a Kirax, basically. They need something like an X-Wing that you can have at the point slot, like a 4-point slot. Starblighters are super cool. I don't think that would help nearly as much as like a Kirax kind of chassis, just because that 3 agility would probably make them a lot more expensive. But they need a small base, kind of chunky 3-die gun, because you pretty much get that in a lot of the really popular, successful factions. Like you have the X-Wings, even in like Empire, you still have like the TIE Advanced kind of gets that 3-die gun. But like with bombers, you have barrage rockets that makes them a 3-die gun. Scum, you don't really get stuff like that. That's self-sufficient. Like rogues, you kind of depend on a cannon, and like the Sikhs, you depend on a cannon. As much as I love ion cannons, you only do 1 damage.
So I do have a side question on that one, right? Because like to me, I would almost consider the rogues the X-wings of those factions. Obviously they don't have the same natural, base 3-die attack, right? They do rely on that cannon slot a lot. But if you were to compare them to the other factions in terms of like the similar archetype or chassis archetype that the other factions have, what would you think they would closely resemble in the other factions?
Well, so I think
Just
the issue,
rogues.
yeah, I think the issue with the rogues is because they don't have that native 3-die gun. They don't have enough points. So, for example, if I have a 4-point X-wing or T70 or T65, and then I have a rogue, I immediately have to spend 6 to 8 points to give it a permanent 3-die gun. Period. So, do
Not
any
having
of
the range 1 4-die attack really kills them. Like in terms
yeah,
of a comparison for like an X-Wing. You don't get 4 dice.
no. And I think that's I agree with you, Alec. Like that's like to me that's the bigger thing. Like they don't have that piece of it, right? And they're the same price. They have the 2 agility. They do have similar-ish dials, I would argue. But you know what else they're missing? Astromechs. They don't have Astromechs. They don't have any of some of these other support piece qualities that we see in some of the other factions.
I think that it's not having the 4 dice in range 1 really limits them a lot because they don't have like the potential for spike damage. I mean, they do get like the bullseye stuff, which is pretty cool. But like you don't like you're scared of an X wing at range one, right? If you have three agility, because you might get 1 to 2 hits coming in. If you're not nearly as scared as a rogue if you have three agility when they're shooting at range one.
That's true. I
So
mean, Dead to Rice is nice to negate their tokens, but yeah, not having that 3 die or that 4 dice spike at range one. Yeah.
yeah, like you can put cannons on them, which is cool, but it's not like you can. It's not like you can. It's gonna say like an HLC kind of thing for like a T-70, right? Where if you fly well, you get 4 dice in the bullseye at range 2 to 3. In a rogue, you can bring an HLC, but you don't get the consistent 3 die, right? If they arc dodge you, you're not getting 4 dice. And the Fang Fighters are great and all, but man, they need to live at range one, and they only got 4 health. It's just you need something chunky and something 3 dice. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Kirax. It's just that's the easy comparison because it already exists. But the Kiraxes are kind of suck. That not having that one straight really hurts.
Yeah.
JJ, what are your thoughts? What do you think that they're missing that other factions have? I mean, because we have big pieces in both factions. We do.
Yeah, we do. Honestly, I think it's the ratio of types of ships, right? Right now, I think Scum has tied with the Rebels in terms of the amount of large base ships that they have, but in terms of like viability, practically every large base for the Rebellion can be played and have viable lists. And that's even including the new YT 2400, whereas Scum really, really struggles to have any of their large bases do a decent amount of work, right? You take a look at the jump master Dengar. He did come down to 6 points. However, his loadout still restricts him quite a bit, and he does need to have the opponents in their front arc with the punishing one side in order for him to have a natural 3 die attack. His dial suffers, so he doesn't have great time on target. Rebel Falcons don't have that issue. The VCXs have even 4 dice, and they can punish really hard when they can. The Gauntlet doesn't suffer that issue that the Jump Master has there. You take a look at the Scum Falcon native 2 die attack. Yeah, he can possibly get it up to 4, maybe 5 dice, depending on how lucky you are in lining up that obstructed shot with trick shot and hope that there's stress in order for you to have that big attack, but it's not going to be something that's constant on there. And sure, that Scum Falcon is going to be cheap at 6 points, but it still suffers from that attack and it needs a lot of help in order for it to get consistent attack out there to have that same damage output that its counterpart in Rebel Han can do, and even that Rebel Han can double tap, whereas the Scum Han really doesn't have a viable option to do that. So from the onset, when you compare directly, their counterparts between the factions, Scum in particular really struggles at that there. The other part of it too is just the lack of um I don't want to say granularity, because it doesn't feel like that's the correct way to say it, but the correct balancing of points, having enough 3 point ships for valid options for Scum, or 5 point options for Scum as well, that can be like really good add-ons to a list to help break it, because they have a lot of sixes that are decent and they have a lot of fours that are decent. At 5, you really struggle to find a really good piece, to really like be a good, um, like a really good attacker for Scum.
A man
And
room.
a lot of True, you got Manaroop, but he's an I3, right? And again, he suffers from that same issue with the dial and stuff, and similar issues that Dengar suffers from. Although you can fit a lot more in Manaru, you just got to really plan ahead to do that, right? On the CIS side, you got honestly, I think that some of those vultures can come down to 1 point, even if you give them 0 loadout. I don't see why you wouldn't want to do that. I mean, they're pretty easy to kill. Um, Beyond that, I mean, as far as large bases, the Sith infiltrators are still. I think there might be something there that could possibly be good for CIS to really use. I think Pre Vizsla is definitely a ship that should see a lot more play for CIS. That doesn't see a lot of play. We still see a lot of fire sprays with Zam and Django currently right now. But honestly, when you're looking at what makes the top cut for CIS, whenever they actually do make top cut, that's all we're seeing, right? It's just Django and Zam and Dirge, right? Those rogue class starfighters still being really good. Occasionally, you'll see Volandas and the Tri-Fighter, who's a really great value at 4. But beyond that, you're not really seeing Sunfac. You're not seeing much of the Nantexes. You're not seeing very much Vultures. You're not seeing a lot of the HMPs either, which are really, really strong support ships. And I understand that they cut down their loadouts in order to make it more cheaper. But it's still, I think part of it too is just because it's not doing well in tournaments, there's not enough people who are willing to go into those factions and really test out like different combinations that are waiting to be discovered. And until we get to that point, I think that CIS and Scum will suffer until then.
Yeah, if we go back to like Scum, it's really awkward to build in Scum because you have Lima, who's really good at 3 points, and then a significant drop off to like Arlees.
Yeah.
Even that is a little bit that's questionable. And then you got a couple Seek interceptors at 3 that don't output a ton of damage because generally they take like ion cannons, or they're objective runners and they're burnout slamming everywhere. So like it's just awkward to like you have 1.5 viable like 5 point ships, which is Manaru and Old Terox. Okay, sorta. It depends on the list that you bring. In CIS, I think a lot of their problem is that they lack like a high initiative small base ship. It's not like Dirge. Just they also don't really have like chunky ships like an X-wing. Like your Tri Fighters are cool. They're 3 health. Don't get shot. And like the Hyena bombers aren't really. They die. They're too low initiative to actually do anything. So if you have more, you either need like sturdier kind of droid ships or just higher. I don't know. You just need like another ship in there. You need another chassis.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's the chassis piece of it because you have 2 ships. You have a hyena bomber and a droid, and both of them have very similar-ish dials and play styles, right? Both of them have 2 agility. Both of them don't have very good upgrades, and all of them are low initiative. They don't have I5s, I6s, which again makes sense, right? Like it does make sense to not have that, but they also don't have anything that keeps them on the board like like Empire does, right? Nothing keeps these droids on the board. Like I don't have a way to go, oh, you blew up my droid, it gets to shoot all of a sudden, or oh, it gets, this or that. And they are extremely predictable. In Scum, you like you said, you don't have any good 3-point options. It's just they don't exist at all, really. Like in my opinion. Like even some of the M3As you would think would be really great because they're 3 agility. You can add different things to them, but I don't know if it's a loadout thing or a dial thing for M3As. It would be nice if it was just a loadout thing, but I don't. So I think some of those are the 2 big issues inside of there is you don't have a way to help them. And then in Scum, I think the big bases are okay. Like I think they have some really good big base ships. Like I think Afra, which I've said all along, is one of the best ships in Scum. Like period. Like Dengar is great. Don't get me wrong, but Dengar could also use a little bit more loadout for what he does, and he's not as horrible. And Fangs is still overpriced to some extent. They just are. I don't know. So I think some of it is a combination of points and the fact that Scum has used interactions with cards versus a bunch of really cool abilities, I think that's the bigger thing. Scum has always been like, here, let me give you an ability that interacts with a million of these other cards, and you could create something ridiculously stupid. Like, just so stupid you don't even want to play against it, like Torkoal Mux.
Like my
And
list.
and I think they've restricted some of that down in how they've created and captured it. CIS, on the other hand, doesn't have a lot of those really cool interactive cards. Like, give me some scummish cards. You know, give me an Aurora with more points. You know, like a 7-point like fire spray should be good. Even at an I4 should be good. But if you don't give me stuff to keep it alive, you're just gonna eat it alive. And like I don't know. Like, I don't think you should have to be able to take Notorious, but there's just that better attack relays. That's a great answer. Better attack relays, because that is more similar to Astromechs and different things that we get in other factions. So
I was gonna say like a multi-charge, like energy gel charge kind of thing, like
Yeah.
barrage rockets. But obviously you can't do that because they, have focuses. So give them like a calc. I mean, I guess they have multi-missile pods, right? And
But they're
that's kind
shit.
of what they were going for. But
sure, but you're an
do
I2,
a
3,
single
or
missile
4.
one.
Yeah, what are you gonna do when they
Yeah.
get out of your bullseye? You're not gonna throw more dice at them. He's just like
Yeah,
some.
you need like an energy shell charge with like 3 charges that just requires like a calculate token.
Yeah.
And honestly,
You don't even
with
have to have the
better
conversion. Just shoot 3 dice.
Mm-hmm.
and with better tac droids too, right? That also brings in those ships that want to carry those tac droids, right? Like, we would see a lot more Seer. We would see a lot more of the higher costed um the ships, dang it, the UFO ones, the HMPs. Wow, I totally blanked
The
on that. But
Roombas.
yeah, the Roombas, yeah, we would see a lot more of those if having a tech droid carrier would be a lot more enticing for your list to carry it. I think that adding more options in that tech droid is a design space that really hasn't been fully flushed out for the faction, and I think that's a great design space to help increase the efficiency of those droids that can die really quick, and make them better. And you can have better lists with CIS and probably have a little better more wins. A lot more action, a lot more options to deal with what we have right now with Han, to deal with the arcs and stuff, and I think that would do a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is, like, so if we had gotten the Aflax droids, which are I5s, the SOC ones at 3 points, CIS, we would be having a little bit less of this discussion, because you could run those 2 of those plus T81, and that's only 10 points of your list. And that's 3 ships, very high maneuverability, very high survivability, and now you have ability to kind of work around. In Scum, if we had higher M3As or something, like maybe some 2-point TIE fighters. I don't know why we can't have 2-point TIE fighters, for Christ's sake, in Scum. Oh no, they can go over an obstacle. Woohoo. Like, why are, like, if you know what they could do, if they fly towards an obstacle, you think that they're gonna not go through it? Like, do you think that they're not gonna, like, oh no, that guy's gonna turn one hard and then one hard, and they're not gonna do, they're gonna fly through? Who cares? Like, what they do.
And even then, they can only fly through asteroids. They can't do
Yeah,
debris.
exactly.
They can't do gas clouds.
So, like, we don't have any, like, the 2-point options in Scum. Like, to me, Scum needs more 2-point options and better 3-point options to kind of round some of that out a little bit. And while maybe Dirge in Scum is probably could have more loadout, or give them the title and let them have a crew slot. But the problem becomes is there's so much that breaks things in Scum. Nobody wants to take the time to play with it. And to AMG's credit, right, is they have less people than FFG did to run this game, plus they have to run all these other games, plus they built a whole new game. And so I understand it, but I don't agree with it, I guess. So really the last piece of this, and I don't want to spend all night, I don't want this to feel like a bitch session, especially because I'm the CIS player, and I like Scum. And so for me, I shouldn't say that because Charles will come back to haunt me, but um, I like some of it is what do other factions have that we could give to CIS or vice versa? Like, what could we do do we need to fix the other factions to make these factions better? Or could we leave things similar to where they're at and do different things inside of the faction to make them more viable? And yes, Desi, give me an Asajj Fanblade ship. Like, I will buy 5 of them. I don't care. 100%.
I mean, I would love to see a Dooku Sheathapede shuttle. I would love to see the fan blade. That is the ship that I would love to see, like a true dark side force fighter to counter the Jedi's in the Republic. That would be absolutely awesome. Ventress being one of them just would be awesome. The other part of it too is, there's there with more packs that are coming out, just hoping to see more pilots that can help fill out the factions or help fill out the different chassis and give them abilities that can really help the rest of the faction with their identity. Allow them to have an interaction with like a tech droid or have them boost ships that calculate. Or for Scum, for instance, if a ship has a certain type of like token, like a strain token or a strain token or a deplete token and stuff, something that kind of fits that Scum identity of, status effects for, ships and work off of that. There's a lot of design space in adding in those pilots, and you can do that without having to create brand new chassis for it. Because I know that AMG is currently not doing that, at least to our knowledge. We don't know that they're designing any new ships right now, but you can certainly add more pilots, and that can definitely add a breath of fresh air into those chassis and into the faction.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, they just need a couple more ships. It would also help if all the other factions came down a little bit in power. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, that's probably needed, but yeah, just I mean, Scum doesn't have any standard loadout cards. That'd be nice. Fix up Boba Fett so he can actually be played.
Give me a standard loadout 7-point Boba Fett. How about that?
7 points might be a little aggressive.
Well, if you
A charge
can't
based Boba ability.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
make it charge base, right? And then
or
you can't or turret, and then you don't have the same thing issue. Just saying. I'm just saying. All right. I think that's enough. I don't want this to sound like a bitch session overall. Overall. So all right, why don't we dive into our pattern analyzer segment to discuss recent store champs that have won and done better than me? All right. Welcome back to our pattern analyzer segment. Welcome back to our pattern analyzer segment where we talk about store championships, what's winning, what's not winning, if there's any cool lists and things like that have gone on. And the first one I want to cover tonight is from Dungeon Cat Gaming in Illinois. This is from last Sunday, and they hadn't quite wrapped a bunch of stuff up, so I didn't want to include it in the show last week. But we see here quite a bit of different and not different stuff. Alex, what did the winner bring, and where is my Lando?
Right. So they brought a Falcon, and it's not Rey, or Lando, or Poe. It's Chewbacca. It's a 5-ship Chewbacca list, which I can respect. This Chewbacca has engine upgrade, a Ray gunner, trick shot, marksmanship, and the Ray's Falcon title. It's not the build I would build, but it worked out for them, right? LO with heroic marksmanship, HLC. You see that fairly frequently. BB-8 with Han Solo targeting computer, which is perfect. Snap Wexley, heroic, HLC, and R4 astromech. And then you got Zori with Plasmatorps, dorsal, and R4 astromech.
So
Most of those are pretty standard.
What is your preferred Chewbacca build?
I don't even actually have Ray Gunner on there because I think Notorious is far more important to have. So you don't
Yeah,
just
agree.
alpha Chewbacca right off the board. Just because there's not a lot of penalty for just shooting Chewbacca, um, and those kinds of stuff. So I usually, if I had the option, it'd be Notorious, Novice Tech because it's perfect. Agile Gunner, Dead Man, Contraband, and Engine. So you can do the Chewbacca boost into you after you killed him and then explode, which I always find super funny. But just Notorious is really good to dissuade people from shooting at Chewbacca too frequently. But it's a solid list. I mean, you fit 4 other ships with Chewbacca, and 3 of them are essentially X-wings. So you could fit 3 if you wanted to instead of Zori, but that works.
All right. The next one we have is another resistance list that Marcel ran. And essentially, we have a appearance of underslung blaster cannon, and I'm a little confused. Why?
Oh, especially with M9G8.
Like
That's the even more questionable thing.
He went 3-1 with it, but
He doesn't want to be outmaneuvered, okay?
All right, I guess
That's the only reason. I don't know.
you don't ever shoot that, right? Like you just unless like you're running away to an objective or something.
You have to target lock them or even shoot the thing.
Yeah,
which is really bad with M9G8. Unless they're like a priority target where you want to M9G8 them. Normally you're doing that for your teammates to get rerolls.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, it had M9G8 and Heroic, and then we had LO with HLC and Marksmanship Heroic, Neonub, HLC, R6, Pattern Analyzer Heroic, Jess Pava with R2D2, and then we had Chorus Capellum.
Yeah.
And
the Y.
And no wartime loadout here, just R4 ion and targeting automated targeting priority
for
why?
Targeting computer is 1 point and that costs the same as automatic
priority. That's exactly what I was about to say.
You get to calculate too, and you don't have to shoot anyone at range 0.
I just didn't understand that either. I like what is Chorus's what's their ability?
Before you engage, you may choose 1 ship in your firing arc at 0 to 1. If you do, transfer 1 green token from that ship to yourself, which is fantastic. It's the reason I won.
So it's Baby Torkel. Or Baby Paylob. Baby Paylob.
There you go.
It was Paylob when I engaged and I won.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it was
tweak that loadout. It could be actually a pretty solid list for more people. It's not myself.
I mean, you could use the M9G8 defensively, right? Like if you target lock your ship or the enemy ship and force them to re-roll a die on offense, you could do that, right? I mean,
I do it to like Dangar and like quick draw and stuff that double taps frequently, or like anything with cluster missiles. It's pretty nice. But man, you're not shooting that underslung blaster cannon if you're doing that.
That's true.
I don't know.
Also did not take the disrespect 1 point jamming beam on Jess Bava, which you could have because you have 1 more point of loadout. Just in case.
All right. We'll go to the next one, which had Obi-Wan winning the store champ with their list. JJ, what is that list?
So Obi-Wan, who is my my teammate here on Team USA Islands for XCC, running the Republic, he's got Anakin Skywalker in 7B with shield upgrade, R4P astromech and crackshot, Mace Windu with R4P 17 and heightened perception, Wolf with R4P astromech, veteran tail gunner and expert handling, and then Oddball with selfless veteran tail gunner and R4P astromech. That's the Siege of Coruscant version. This is very similar to the Duncan Howard list that he took for his win for the Sword Championships, just replacing Adi Gallia with Mace Windu in 7B. for 5 points, if I recall correctly. You have essentially an I7 engage with Mace Windu with 2 additional force there. That can be pretty good if you are able to set up that initiative kill early on, or at least weaken the ship for Anakin to come in and put in the final blow with that crack shot on there. Can be really, really good. We all know Wolf and Oddball can also be very good with their chunkiness and being able to have very consistent offense with their abilities as well. Really solid list.
If only Wolf had one more point of loadout, so he put dedicated instead of expert handling.
Yes. And at least there's no Q7 on this one.
It doesn't share the focus tokens, but it's still a solid piece.
Yeah. All right. The next one we have is, all right. So I'm sorry. We're gonna cover this one. I threw a 2 and 2 list in, and I normally do not do that. But I wanted to cover because this is a little bit of a different build for FO, and I think that kind of builds into our later meta discussion, right? Because I think Blackout is somewhat of an underrated piece, except for when I fly him, he always dies. So I don't know what people are doing to keep him alive, but Tanner's Blackout always dies.
How does your Blackout die?
It just does. I don't know. The same way, ask Matt. Where's Matt? Ask Matt, because I killed Matt's stupid Blackout every time too. I don't know if I just don't know how to fly him.
Did make a card for Cody that says blank out instead of blackout, so
like it is a thing. Like I have literally rolled twice where I've rolled 3 green dice, and each time has just been all blanks. And Blackout didn't die, but at 1 health left, what are you gonna do? Like, what do you do with Blackout? Then run? like just I don't know. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of cover this one because I don't know if people are memeing at this point. If this is like memey, and I don't know what that is, but I just think some of this is pretty cool, and I wanted to kind of cover a little bit of this. So, Alex, what did Matthew run in an FO?
So this is actually really close to the list that I played for NCX. So I have a little bit of insight into this. So this has Malorus with cluster missiles, Lieutenant Gaelic with biohack script codes and tractor beam, Kylo and the Whisper with brilliant evasion, instinctive aim, concussion missiles, advanced optics, and the config, Blackout with fanatical optics and plasma torps, and then LeHughes with fanatical optics and special forces gunner. They're all I5. Gaelic can shoot the tractor beam first. If need be, when things die, you can coordinate people. I played something very similar to this. Gaelic had an ion cannon instead, and I think LeHughes had barrage rockets instead. Well, maybe not. No, it had the pattern analyzer fanatical. LeHughes, that's what it was. But it had the same blackout, which is interesting. Actually, I lied. That one had Lone Wolf instead of fanatical. But plasma torps, all that kind of stuff. It's cool. It's not something you see very frequently, but again, they all are I5. They can hit pretty hard if any of them are flanking. Having that advanced optics really helps with the consistency of the red dice. And just kind of hope to God they can't dodge you at I6. Don't play against a Han, and you should be good.
No fun playing against a Han.
I mean, I just just boost past all these guys. I don't know. I'm still more barrage rockets on LeHughes than I am for any other build. I just that rear 3-die gun, like focus, like rotate backwards to shoot someone is really nice.
Yeah, I didn't realize that when I was playing Sandy this week, and I got one barrage rocket the whole time, and then I was like, oh, I could just rotate it backwards and shoot it. Okay, oh, all right. Well, I guess that's probably smarter of a thing. And then you could double tap. That was the thing, because like if I'd been able to do that and double tap, I might have been able to pull an extra 2 points out. If I'd been able to kill Grievous as well, but it's just kind of funny. Like, I did not think about that, because every time I've seen it ran, it's barrage rockets out the front. But no, makes sense.
Oh no, that barrage rockets out the back is like half the reason why you do it. I think you just fly past someone.
Yep. Yeah, I realized that too late. Well, and that's what you get when JJ gives me a faction I haven't played in like 2 months.
You requested it. I gave
I
you
did
the
not.
option
You gave me an
between
option.
Republic and FO.
You
What
could've
did you
just-
want, bro?
You could have just left me in CIS. I would have been happy.
No, I couldn't have. Everybody needed to change.
Well, that's what you get. All right, JJ, what did Anthony bring for our 3-in-1 list? That is a 6-ship rebel list with no Han. So congrats on going 3-in-1 with no Han.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got Hull Oakland, the Battle Yavin version with dorsal turret, advanced proton torpedoes, and precise astromech. If I remember correctly, this is the version that can recover a charge if he has nobody near him, right?
Yes. That's also
then we
a
got
double botted advanced proton one.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
guy.
it's
Yeah.
pretty good. We got Luke, Battle Yavin Luke there. We got Corn Horn in the T-65 with the S-Royals, R3 Astromech cluster missiles and marksmanship. Wedge Antilles in the A-Wing with vectored cannons, marksmanship and predator. Keo Venti also with vectored cannons and proton rockets. And then Sabine Wren in the TIE Fighter with Beskar reinforced plating. I definitely like the cluster missiles on Corrin just because you have the opportunity of passing off 2 separate target locks when he engages, if you're able to get that off. Of course, this also leaves Corrin very likely to get killed because he's focusing on getting the cluster missiles off there. But if he manages to flank the formation that he's looking to get the set off, then it could be potentially very, very good. But yeah, it's a very solid list. This can cover a lot of ground there. You got Luke and Corn at I5 being able to beat that initial hammer for Wedge and Hull to come in and finish off with their ordnance and their abilities. And then you got excellent objective grabbers with Keo and Sabine just being able to contest those objectives and be very squirrely and hard to take down.
All right. And the next one came from Perry Lowe, Roger Lowe. And essentially, and I just every time I think of Perry, I think of Finn and Furbius because that's what my daughter's been watching lately. So freaking platypus. Anyway, this is a different CIS list we have not seen before. You have 2 Horacle droids with energy shell charges, Iron Assembler with energy shells, DGS 407 with Kraken, 2 Geonosians with clusters, Discord, and sync laser cannons. So like they just went for max offense. It says, "Which do I want to shoot you with today, my dear?" And with DGS 407 having the Kraken, I'm guessing is that you keep the calculates all the time on the Geonosians, no matter what. Then we have DGS 286 with energy shells, discords as well. So you have 4 HMPs and 3 droids. This is definitely a unique list we've not seen specifically do well. I will say their MOV was decent. They had pretty high victory points. They actually had more victory points than the winner, only by 1, but still they were one of the top victory point getters. So I don't know what this list does 100% other than this is somewhat of an objective list, like outside of having to carry a crate per se, because you're probably going to lose the crate. But this list can isolate you and give you a big middle finger. So I think Han murders this. Like I think Han goes, droid 1 gone, droid 2 gone. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, definitely interested to see what they lost to, and see how it performed against the other ones.
I mean, I would run this. This looks like fun to run. I don't know how well it does all the time. So. The last list I wanted to cover is the what the F list. That's 2 and 2, and this is over Murray's list. I don't know who wants it. I don't understand this list. So
it's your favorite ship.
Yeah,
it is, and it's a ship that can't take the title either. Like, it's a 5-point ship that can't even take the title.
So when I first looked at this looks exactly like a 2.0 list, right? Like they're playing 2.0 and 2.5. So we got a total of 6 HWKs, which, side note, where the hell did they find 6 HWKs to put on the board physically? All right. That's the
Block
first
swarm,
thing.
man.
So we got Torko Mux, who is the only named pilot in this list, with the Mandalorian, which provides him with that white reinforced concussion bombs and deadman switch. And then we have 5 Spice Runners with concussion bombs, which they are also the generic HWK pilots for that chassis, just running those concussion bombs on there. I really want to know the amount of damage he got off just on concussion bombs alone. Because if you're not familiar with concussion bombs, once you drop a concussion bomb, unless you reload it to go back to full charges, you are dropping concussion bombs until you run out of them for the rest of the game.
And
And
mind
on
you, the
top of
Hawks
that,
don't have reload, so once you drop them, you
exactly.
are continuing to drop them.
And the other part of it too is that if you get hit by concussion bombs, it just says you have shields. Too bad. You're going to get hull damage, and you're going to take a strain unless you want me to flip that hull damage face up, and it will absolutely wreck any low agility ship like A-wings, like TIE interceptors, any droids that have low health. All of that, those things will die to like 2 or 3 of these concussion bombs instantly, and then on top of that get strained, and most likely you're going to get shot from the turret arc from these ships that now have you in their arc, and their 2 die attacks suddenly seem a lot better since you're completely strained. So it's definitely a very interesting list. I will love to see this like play on stream, to see how they set up their formation to get maximum coverage for those bombs. Because, man, this looks absolutely hilarious, and I would have loved to see this in play.
Apparently, Cam Murray said that he won his last game uh, going against Republic by sacrificing a Hawk to to block 3 Jedi into a kill zone of just bombs, which is awesome. People don't expect it, and
So someone had
people are bad
fun.
against
How about
bombs.
that?
I would have loved to have flown this stupid list. And they said generics aren't even possible in this game. I got my I-1 Hawks with
All right,
2 turrets.
you bring that to our next store champ, Alex.
I need
There
to
you
find
go.
3 more Hawks.
Well, I got one for you. I got one, maybe 2. I think I own 2.
I like how they can either take a payload or an illicit because they don't have enough points to bring both. And that's their only slots. They don't even have like a mod slot to bring in like delayed fuses or anything like that.
All right, I'm just saying. Next turn, I hate you. Don't bring this. Don't. You're just gonna piss me off. I do not want to play against Torkoal Mux. Nobody should bring Torkoal Mux. You're just gonna do it to ruin my day. That's
I
all it
forgot
is.
about that. And for those who don't know what Torkoal Mux does, if you're in his arc, he reduces you to I0. So all these generics
ship.
are not going to be firing at you before you even get a shot off. So good luck with Vader. Vader is not going to get a shot off. He's just going to die. Yes.
I don't. If Vader cannot outmaneuver Torkoal Mux without Moldy Crow, with Moldy Crow, I can understand. Without Moldy Crow, if you cannot outmaneuver Torkoal Mux, then your Vader probably deserves to die. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Joke's
your
on you, I
I4
brought
should.
Gargor anyways.
What?
It's already 0.
All right, let's move on. Let's keep going. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. The next one we have is Sanctuary Gaming Center in the UK. This one was taken down by Tom Veal again. Is Tom playing in the league this year?
Yes. He is a captain, I want to say.
I bet he got to keep his CIS team. Anyway, so Tom Veal, this one was a little bit bigger of an event. I thought. I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe this isn't the one. No, this is not the one. There's another one that was bigger than this. But anyway, Tom Veal took down a 4-0 win here. Very we're gonna call this the standard CIS like list per se because this dirge, except for this one, has thermal detonators, which was interesting choice because you're taking thermals over seismic and contraband, which I don't understand. But you have Sunfok with ensnare, graphlytic defection, targeting computer, Grievous with the shield upgrade, T81, and then O81 with the energy shells and indie calcs. This was kind of a standard list I had been running at the beginning of the points change. It's a fun list if you don't lose Sunfak. If you're really good at flying Sunfak, this is a great list. So congrats to Tom Veal. I think this is the second one he's taken down with CIS. Alex, what is the next scum list that came in 3-1?
Yeah, so this is another scum list. It's 4 ships. You have Manru with Notorious, Garsax, and Deadman, and the title. No disrespect, R5TK. Don't want to shoot my teammates, I guess. Namlum with Sync Laser Cannons, Chicato Vizago, and Miggs Mayfield. No Dengar on that one. That is also a Jump Master. Not the Rogue one.
I know,
think.
isn't that crazy? We haven't seen Namlong in a while.
Right. That's the Jump Master version, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That
Is
has
it
2 cannon
with
slots.
synced?
But it doesn't have a crew slot, right? Without the title. So unless that has the title, which would make a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, fair point. Fair
So
point.
if
Yeah.
then it probably is the Rogue. Because no, Namlum just straight up has 2 cannon slots. We're good. I was right.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it's not the row because the points wouldn't equal out then.
Right. And then you have Fenrau with Fearless Predator Beskar Optics, you most common seen one. And then Cad Bane with Marksmanship, Proton Cannons, Overtuned Xanadu Blood title, and Thermal Detonators. Man, Miggs Bayfield over like Dengar Gunner, which is what you typically see. I mean, you don't really have the points for it, unfortunately. You can't take both Sync Laser Cannons and Dengar. But yeah, Miggs Mayfield, it's a rough gunner. I hate Miggs Mayfield. I don't know why people keep doing that.
And they love it. Love it.
You have to shoot them with the Sync Laser Cannons, and you can shoot a turret at someone else who has a orange or red token.
I mean, what is Vizago doing on that ship anyway?
You have 1 point left over.
Okay, because like I don't know how you. What are you trading around? You know, you gonna move Deadman switch
and Deadman, I think, is the only one you can do. So it's mostly you have 1 point left over, and if you wanted to, you can swap out Deadman switch for Overtune modulators.
Okay,
Which has some synergy with Manaru's ability.
It does. Yep.
That's about it.
Okay. I was a little confused. That's all. I just didn't understand why that would
again.
be
It's just like 1 point.
Like I like Vizago. Don't get me wrong. Like I think Vizago is hilarious, but I just whatever. All right, JJ, what is the next 3-1 list? I threw another one in here just because there's a couple of ships we've not seen.
Hell yeah. Quadruple interceptor, baby.
Like,
yeah. So
whoever's flying, give Cody this list. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is definitely a choice. So you got Soontir Fair with Predator and Juke. I think that's the preferred way I would fly Soontir. With Second Sister, Brilliant Evasion. Second Sister bringing Brilliant Evasion, Juke cluster missiles, and targeting computer. Iden Versio, the Battle of Gavin version, which is a 4 health interceptor, with Predator and Fanatic and Talent.
Just Fanatic.
Yeah, Fanatic, yeah. And then Sienna Reed, the other Ice 6 interceptor with Predator, Disciplined, and Shield upgrades to round off the list. The Juke Predator for Soontir Fell feels really well for Soontir because he natively wants to have that evade token just to mitigate any blanks that he might roll. And then if you fly really well and you're able to land up those bullseyes consistently, you'll get that focus token and then have Predator to double mod your attack with Soontir Fell. Second Sister being able to use her ability to do, and or actually just even just having force in general makes her really good. Just being able to just use that evade token along with juke and have to force to back her up, or if she's not getting any other shots, use a targeting computer, set up a lock, get cluster missiles, and just use your evade token if you happen to set up for like a further shot, and double juke some two ships with cluster missiles. Could be pretty good. A little hard to set up, but good. Aida Inversio, though, is a ship that is something that we should see more often because her ability is really good. She's charge based. She can cancel one hit or crit results with her charge. And it's every 2 turns if you do use her charge. Really good way to keep these interceptors alive, particularly Soontir, especially when he tends to blank out at range 3 through an obstacle. Being able to cancel that one crit that can absolutely just decimate Soontir is really good. And Sienna Ree is just a really good ship that can go in, soften up a ship, and then allow for the rest of the list to come in and take them out. This is definitely a very AC list, double reposition, priority on just arc dodging and doing well. Really surprising this did 3-1, and because you never think of these lists doing well with objectives, but hey, mad props, 3-1, great job.
And I know you mentioned that Iden has 4 health, but that 4th health is a shield, not a hull. So it's like
That's true.
actually
Yeah.
meaningful, which is
Yeah.
nice. I don't want to get like Marcos to play this. He'll just get decimated, but it'd be really funny. He loves those interceptors.
I do too. I own enough of them. All right. The next one is our Poland one. This is the one that had quite a few people for a store champ. They had like, I don't know, like 40 or something like that, 40-ish.
39.
So that's pretty good for a store champ. Like come on, Grand Rapids. Where the heck are you? Anyway, so this was a 5-round tournament, no cut. We have Starvald as the main winner. They only get 2 invites, Sherman, if they had 2 invites to give out.
This is no, they had a top 8 cut. And for some reason, maybe I'm just doing this wrong, but it said that he came in 6th.
They had a top 8 cut. It didn't show up in the thing.
It shows up in List Fortress, so I don't know.
All right, so I'll tell you what, we're going to skip this one then, and I'll do a little research and we'll come back to it. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, so the other one that I have is Erfurter Store Championship in Germany. Illy 08, I believe they play in XCC. I think I've actually played them before, more than one time. They were the winner. JJ, what did they bring?
Oh man, when I first saw this list, I was like, man, I really, really, really wanted to bring this up here again because man, just seeing them come back into the scene. He is um, a really well-known player back from 2.0, and just see him come back for 2.5 and doing well with this list. It was really good here. So we got a Republic list. We got Oddball, Siege of Coruscant, Wolf, Matchstick, which is probably my favorite Y-Wing for the Republic, with Ion Cannon Turret, Ion Bombs. We got Slider with Dedicated because, of course, Broadside, the other great Y-Wing with Ion Cannon Turret and Proton Bombs, and then Jag, which is the Siege of Coruscant version, with the Veteran Tail Gunner R4P and Sync console. This is so much beef and a lot of control if you could set this up correctly with those Ion Cannon turrets, and then Sliders just there to just provide that defensive reroll there. This has a total agility of 6 dice, but it has a lot of mods. It has a lot of offense. It can help lock in pieces that need to stay in front of these Arc 170s to be punished, and it can do very well on objectives as well, just overwhelming the board with the size and the amounts of ships on the board. It's a really, really good list. I like this.
Alex, I don't know, like, it's weird seeing multiple Y-Wings in Republic on the board.
Yeah, but if you're gonna bring Y wings, those are the two you bring.
Oh yeah, 3
Or
points
just-
each. Yeah.
Ion control and hit people really hard with your 3 dice guns. And what they're relatively high initiative. I mean, Jags are 3, and I think the rest are like 4s, Oddballs a 5, right? So
Yeah.
it's middle objective. It's not like it's I guess broadside is also a 3. So Jag and broadside 3, slider, matchstick, wolf 4. Still 6-ship list, and they're kind of a pain to kill because they're the Y wings are 8 health and the arcs are 9. So then you got only one dedicated, but it's fine. Seems okay. Went 3-0-1.
All right. Alex, what is the next list by Empire?
Yeah.
I don't understand this list either.
Rack triple reaper, baby. Let's go. So you got Rack with Ruthless, Death Troopers, Seventh Sister, Agile, Blazer Bomb, and the Dauntless title. You got Major Vermeil with Ruthless, Vader, and Captain Hark. You got Faroff with Ruthless and Agent Callus and Vizier with Palpatine. And that's awesome. I love Rack. Blazer Bomb is a choice. It does stick around.
It's a crazy choice.
Yeah, I mean it's 5 points and it's kind of a mine, and you don't want to bring thermal detonators because I don't know if you're bumping a lot. Rack does that a lot though, so you want to bring mines. Blazer bomb is one. No one will know what it's due, so you just tell people whatever you want.
Well, I mean, the Blazer Bomb is the bomb that actually works really well with Death Troopers, right? Because when it goes off, you have a chance of taking a stress on the blaze itself. And if you got Death Troopers on there and they still stay within range 1, they're not going to remove that stress. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely some synergy. It's not the best synergy, but it's definitely some synergy there with Death Troopers.
Yeah, and then just backing it up with 3 Reapers, which is super cool, and their ability's optional, so you can just slow roll the whole time. Seems
Yeah.
funny.
I think this is a cool list. I won't lie and say I only own 2 Reapers, so I don't have a way of flying this, but I don't know, like it seems something you could put on the table. At least it would be fun to fly. I think for me, I would just run into everything. So I would not fly this myself. But I did try on TTS when the Reapers were really cheaply costed. I think this was before we went. I don't know, JJ, was this before we went to 2.5 or after? I don't know. I played you a couple of times.
I think it was before 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I ran like 4 or 5, like five Reapers or something like that, and
yeah,
I got decimated more than one time. So I quit running it, but it was fun. It was really fun.
The tail end of 2.0, I did a light and Dree with like tractor beam, and then you can fit 4 ISB slicer reapers with it. And that was really silly.
Yep, that was what I was trying to do, is just get the ISB slicer off. That's all I cared. Nobody ever uses that upgrade. Let me figure out how to break it, and it didn't work. So X-Wing is not as fun to list build as when I play cards. I'll just tell you that right now. But
I disagree.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We will see. We can go back and play some Destiny together, buddy.
No, that sounds awful.
Destiny was easy. Anyway, we're gonna skip the other one. We'll do that one next week. You are correct. I must have looked it up last night, when I was doing the podcast stuff last night, and they hadn't played a top cut yet. So there is a top cut. It definitely is not that 5-0 list that one. He bailed out round 1. So I will correct the information for next week. So
guess what faction won?
Probably Resistance.
CIS.
Yep. No, it was Resistance, but Scum came in second.
Damn.
It was not CIS.
Hey, nice.
CIS has not won an event.
They have.
CIS, Django and Zam and Dirge.
They've won a major event.
Oh, a major event, no, but they have won store champs.
Well, whatever. This to me is a little bit more than a store champ. They did a top
Yeah,
cut of
yeah. No,
like
that's
a
fair.
top eight.
That's fair.
Top eight. So and who knows? Maybe this was a world qualifier we didn't know about. I don't know. Anyway, for the ending to round out the show, I would like to do a Academy 101 where we analyze meta list for FO. For this segment, we're going to be analyzing first order to talk about the meta list. Our goal here is to understand the components that make up the list, how to fly it, why you want to fly these lists, even if they're not the best Han lists you could fly, they still are pretty fun and pretty amazing to run. So these are going to be some of the top first order lists that are making it. We're going to analyze strengths, weaknesses, how to fly them, what obstacles you should take, and if there's a analysis for objective play. The first list is, and some of this stuff we pulled from the pattern analyzer. Is that what it is called? That's what it's called, right? I'm not crazy. We pulled some of these as the top lists that are some of the win rates as well as the top taken lists. When we get into FO, there's a little bit less here than we had before. But it is still definitely some lists that you should be watching out for if you are going to be playing in a tournament, either store champ or world qualifier. With that being said, who wants to take the first list, the first list, and talk about how it works, what ships are in it, and the components that make up this list?
So I'll do this one here. So the first one here, we got Kylo Ren in the TIE Whisper with Brilliant Evasion, Instinctive Aim, Concussion Missiles, Advanced Optics, and the Jamming Suite. Commander Malorus with Mag Pulse. We got DT 798 with Deuterium Power Cells. Lieutenant LeHughes with Marksmanship, Barrage Rockets, and Special Forces Gunner. And then Quick Draw with Project Edition, Lone Wolf Pattern Analyzer, Special Forces Gunner, and Fire Control System. This is just an overall really, really solid list. You got that I6 hammer in quick draw that's able to go it alone with that threat of that double tap. If she loses the shields, being able to do a hard one, which will trigger the pattern analyzer proud tradition focus lock for quick draw is really nice. Or if you're going to try to get behind an opponent and do the sloop, you can do the same thing there. It is a really solid piece for quick draw to double mod there. Going over to Lieutenant LeHughes, a really underrated TIE SF that it has been seeing a little more popularity. There's been different variations on the loadout for LeHughes, but I think probably the most efficient one is the barrage rockets, mainly because that does give LeHughes the ability to shoot those barrage rockets out the rear with the chassis ability. All LeHughes needs is just a focus, and if Quickdraw still has a lock on the ship that LeHughes is firing on, LeHughes can end up spending that target lock to double mod his own shots against that enemy and do some work there. DT did a very cheap 3-die attacker at I4 that can shoot 3 dice there. Commander Malorus, very well known, being able to essentially double mod a Mag Pulse Warhead to deplete, jam, and give a critical to a ship that it attacks, and being a very, very good objective grabber with its ability. And then Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren has had a lot of iterations in terms of loadout. This one probably is the more consistent one. You can, I don't suggest it, but you can use instinctive aim to essentially dumbfire a concussion missile at range 3 against an opponent. And then if you have a focus token, you can use advanced optics to mitigate a single blank result into hit result, and have still another force left over to modify your other focus results if you have it there. Gives Kylo Ren a very consistent 3-die attack that can definitely hit. And if Kylo's the last one on that I5 to hit a ship that you're concentrating on, having that concussion missile available to flip one of those face down damages face up could be really, really good, especially if it's like a fuel leak and you have another like crit on the way going in there, or if you manage to get a direct hit, or um, like any number of different combos there. Kylo Ren can really do a lot of work in ensuring that it could be a kill shot against one of these ships there. Has a lot of utility, can cover a lot of ground on the board there, and is a very consistent offensive machine.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of variations to this, right? Like sometimes we'll see Midnight over DT, just have another I6 out there. FO being king of the high initiatives. I definitely do agree with the barrage rockets on the Hughes. But like quick draw, there's lone wolf quick draw though. That's my only problem. Occasionally you'll see quick draw with like deuterium,
Yeah,
just to get that shield back and get more charges from quick draw. But it's a solid list. It can hit. Like Malorus is such an incredible piece. LeHugh's being just 4 points for just a 3-die attack that works pretty well, especially if you have like Malorus and they're not spending the lock or something, or if Midnight is in there, Midnight's lock. When you shoot with Midnight, they can't modify their dice, and then you can use that for LeHugh's shot.
yeah, and this list feels very independent. Like they don't have to fly close to each other in order for it to be effective. I mean, specifically like Quick Draw and Kylo Ren, the rest of the list can come in at different angles and still be effective on offense. And I think that's both their strength and their weakness as well, because they have that flexibility of being away from each other. If they're not flown correctly and you leave one out to dry by itself, these ships can be burned down by concentrated effort and receive very little retaliation back. What does help this list a lot is that you have a lot of high initiatives. You got Quick Draws I6, then you have LeHugh's, Malorus, and Kylo at I5 that can put out damage at that initiative, and that they can easily burn down a lower initiative ship and take it off the board before it gets a chance to shoot.
And that's generally what FO does, right? In terms of like objectives, like they're chunky enough that like they're kind of annoyingly good at chance. They got the 3 agility minus the SFs, but they have 6 health, so it's like you have to put 3 shields worth of damage into them. They're only giving up 2 points. Uh, the 2 FOs are only giving up 1 point at half, and then Kylo, when he starts getting shot at, he just takes the evade, and you have triple force and jam. So you can't like evade link jam, but you can still jam people, and that's kind of nasty.
Oh yeah.
So like for chance, they're pretty solid. I mean, assault, they're fast enough to do things, but they're not like crushing it at assault.
There's no boosts, so you have to plan your maneuver out.
Right. It's just the only Kylo gets the boost, and you're not leaving Kylo. You're not doing objectives with Kylo to go out there. You're trying to get him in there to do damage. So they're not bad at assault, but they're not like, again, they're not great at it. Scramble, they're actually pretty solid, I would say. Malorus can still have her ability. Kylo has the Force. LeHugh's can use someone else's target locks. Like they're sort of self-sufficient, but also they're high initiative, and that's the biggest part about that. One or two I6s, and the rest are I5s. Right, so they're pretty annoying at scramble. Don't If you just miss that block just by a little bit, you're just like, great, cool. I don't have any actions, neither do they, but they have the point anyways.
Yeah.
And for like scramble, or not scramble, salvage, they don't really depend on the barrel rolls a lot. So they can generally do, I mean, you don't want to pick up a crate with Kylo. And depending on how you can load them out, you could, add some more upgrades that focus on crits. Like you could add Malice on Kylo if you don't want like instinctive and brilliant. So you can like, oh, I'm not good at salvage just in general. I'm gonna throw on there or put like marksmanship even more somewhere, somewhere that so it can knock crates off. Because high initiative isn't the best for salvage, but they can, Malorus with a mag pulse can knock off a crate pretty easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kylo with a bullseye.
Yep.
Lots
And
of
now,
things.
now for this list, I mean, to me, this feels like a jack of all trades, right? Like it could do pretty decent at all the objectives, but it doesn't really excel at any one objective, right? Is that how you guys feel about this list?
Yeah, I
I
would say
think
it's
it's
a
a
mid
little bit
tier.
above average for scramble, but
That,
that's about
yeah.
it.
Now let's talk about counters to this list. What would you guys focus on when you're facing off against this list? What do you think would be the key to bringing this list down?
I mean, if you have like a large base, high initiative that kind of boosts and double tap, that seems really good against this kind of thing. But no, like anything with spike damage should be enough because, like, the key to kill a quick draw is you just eat a shot and you just down the shields in one round, right? Like, you
Yeah.
either get multiple guns on quick draw and shoot that turn, or you just don't shoot quick draw and shoot someone else. Like, you don't want to plink off one damage at a time. And especially if this quick draw doesn't have like deuterium, then like you can do that a lot better. So anything with like spike damage, like proton torpedoes, uh, again, I Han, just the any large base reposition is kind of disgusting. So like a Poe or like a Lando even.
Yeah, and I would say bullseyes are also the enemy of this list. This list doesn't have a lot of repositioning options outside of Kylo. Like Kylo does, right? So Kylo's whatever. Like just Kylo's off the board. But the other ships don't have repositioning options the same way lots of other ships do. They can barrel roll, but then they don't have mods. So pick your poison. So if you want to line up bullseyes on these lists and you're same initiative or higher, you have a higher probability of doing that. Or if you could block them. Blocking is the other thing.
Yeah.
Because they have good dials, but not amazing dials.
Yeah. And I definitely think that jam is actually the way to go for this one here because um, they do rely on their tokens to an extent, right? Because beyond that, they don't really have a lot of passive mods for defense. And while yes, these are three agility ships, three agility can blank out just as easy as one or two agility. Probably less likely, but they can absolutely falter. And since a lot of these ships are not very high on shields, Kylo only has two shields. Malorus and DT only have a single shield. Once you start getting those crits through and through that hole, it's going to be a lot easier for those ships to go down, and they suffer really. They're susceptible to those crits that can really hurt their efficiency, and go down.
All right. Let's go on to the next list. We have Von Reg and Kylo. Well, we got Kylo again, looks like. Not in a silencer this time either. Still in the whisper. JJ, what is this list?
So we got Major Von Rank is showing up here now in the Type A Interceptor with Marksmanship, Lone Wolf, Deterring Power Cells, and Mag Pulse Warheads. Kylo Ren again with Brilliant Invasion Malice, Predator, Pattern Analyzer, and the Jamming Suite. Valorous with Mag Pulse, and DT with Determined Power Cells, and then Lieutenant Hughes again with Marksmanship, Barrage Rockets, and Special Forces Gunner. A different variation from the previous list. The biggest difference is in Kylo Ren's loadout, kind of opting away from the instinctive aim concussion missile. This one is a little more in your face. This is, I would think, probably the more deadlier Kylo, because if he is going to be like a night fighter, he's always going to get that jam off, and he's going to most likely push those crits through with Malice. Major Ronreg is the other piece to this one here, being that I6 ace for the first order, being able to almost pretty always had mods using the ability, the chassis ability to target lock for a deplete or strain, and then take a focus or an evade or wherever you need to, or you can set yourself up with like a deplete lock and then choose a scramble to grab an objective at I6. There's a lot of utility that Von Reg brings to this particular list that Quick Draw just does not have, and the dial allows it to become a lot more of a knife fighter to keep pursuit. And then if you do line up that bullseye on Von Reg, you can set up a strain or a deplete on a ship that may not want to do a blue maneuver the following turn, and you can really set yourself up to neuter that ship's offense or defense for that following turn.
So very similar-ish list. I think DT could be subbed out for Scorch or other few things depending on your playstyle. Though I kind of feel DT might be better than Scorch right now. Um, I don't know. Like I think the difference is DT in a high initiative meta. DT the strain doesn't matter as much, and you don't
Just don't
have
play
to
against
do the blue
Republic.
maneuver. What's that?
Just don't play against Republic with their
Yeah.
arcs and everything. That's the only like kind of iffy thing. There's a lot of stuff at 4 as well right now.
Yeah. So with this list, what's the counters to this list? I guess we'll start there. Is there counters to this list? You know, you have Von Reg you have your I6 now. And Von Reg is a better I6 than Quick Draw in terms of maneuverability. Damage output, it's kind of a playstyle thing, I think. But really, Quick Draw can just burn down in 2 turns if you focus fire on him. Her. Quick Draw just doesn't want to live. Von Reg is cagey. I'm not super sold on Lone Wolf Von Reg. I know that's like the more popular Von Reg, but that's not my favorite Von Reg. I like Daredevil a little bit better than the Mag Pulse and some of the other stuff in here, but that's just me. So what are you guys' thoughts?
I think it still has the same weaknesses as the last list. You're essentially just swapping Von Reg for Quick Draw. Von Reg is just a little. I don't know. How many times like Von Reg just because one shot. Like Von Reg's solid. I don't think I6 Magpul is super good. I don't think Von Reg. You have to be really good at the game for Von Reg to just do a lot of work. Like Quick Draw is kind of the easy way out where you're just like, yeah, I'm going to throw a bunch of dice and they shoot me and I'm going to throw more dice. Von Reg, you actually have to be patient with and get behind people so you can take that strain with that lock focus and not get shot at. So you have to be really, really cagey. But, again, if they're going against something like On, if you get the wrong road roll at the wrong time, that's really, really bad for Von Reg.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So is the objectives and everything kind of similar then to the last list? I mean, to me, it feels like you have a little bit different feel with Von Reg, but you have 2 aces is essentially what you have here. And like Von Reg doesn't want to go take objectives either. So, I don't know. What did you guys' thoughts?
I think that.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this list does better in scramble and significantly worse in salvage, mainly because you don't want to take away the reposition ability from Kylo or Von Reg. Sure, you still have Malrus or you still have DT, but it feels like you're focusing a lot more on the offensive piece of what they could bring. Specifically, Von Reg, if you're able to get that Mag Pulse off at I6, that significantly helps out Kylo and Malorus to and DT to really inflict damage on that ship that Von Reg is going to punish. And in order for you to do that, you do need that reposition, you need that boost or that barrel to get into position, or you need that that either deplete or strain to get that target lock for Von Reg to double mod that. And that could leave Von Reg in a vulnerable position, especially if he's in more than one arc. And if you might lose Von Reg in one shot, or maybe two, especially if he ends up spending that token. And it feels very there's a lot of consequence for that, right? You have a greater risk of you losing that important piece in your list. So if I feel like unless you're really aggressive in trying to get that piece for Von Rig off, you're definitely playing a lot more cagey and you're not supporting as much offensively with Von Rig like you would with Quick Draw. So in a straight out joust, I think this list loses, especially to like the Republic with the arcs. This list doesn't want to joust straight up with any list. It wants to try to run around and do what it needs to do, and that leaves a lot of the other pieces left out to dry, and they could die to concentrated fire. So,
All right. Obstacles. I guess it doesn't really matter to me. You just bring big obstacles, but
yeah, I agree.
I don't think there's much difference here in obstacle placement or anything. Um, again,
Yeah, I mean,
these lists are so FO has what I would call the similar thing that Resistance has. They have a lot of good 4 and 5 point ships, but I think where FO fails a little bit compared to Resistance is they don't have a large base heavy hitter ship. Except for Kylo in the Silencer, and then you can't take him in the Whisper. So like you're kind of at a loss on both sides. I think, and we originally thought Kylo and the Whisper at 5 points, like holy crap, no way. But I think the value versus how easily he can die if you're not careful is there. Like he is, it's not a Silencer Kylo that can live a lot longer. I don't know. So I think that's where FO sits currently is there's a lot of good 4 and 5 point ships, but they don't have anything that excels to such an extent that we're like, oh my God, here you go. And that takes us into our last list, which I would call the 4-ship mayhem, which essentially you pick 4 5 point ships and put them on the table. I left quick draw off because in my opinion, in a 4-ship list, you don't run quick draw. Just personal opinion. I don't know why you would do that. It is a double tapping ship, but it's a double tapping ship that says, don't look at me. Please only shoot me with 1 ship. Don't shoot me with 3 because I'll die. Don't bullseye me with a dirge. I'll die. Yeah, I don't know. So really this is kind of your flavor, right? So this is the Daredevil version. In my opinion, I like this Von Reg better. But that's just me. I don't know if I would say you can. The one thing we didn't put in here is the variant that Cody was running, because again, I think we had that conversation 3 weeks ago. Cody is very good at Cody lists. I don't know how well they are gonna do in the meta. So that 7 point
Cody's basically the only person that plays that list anyways, so you're not gonna see it anywhere.
A 7 point, Kylo can exist. I don't know. Like it's a little bit. That's just not the popular thing we're seeing being run, right? The popular thing is we're seeing Von Reg, Kylo and the Whisper, and then 2 other 5 point ships. So here, this is the Kylo that's the Malice Kylo, which is my preferred build for Kylo, though that 2 point Brilliant Evasion could be Proud Tradition, Fanatical, it could be a lot of different things. And this is without the missiles. And then we have the other 4 ships is the Blackout with Prockets, which you can run Plasmas, you can run Trick Shot, but the Prockets, I feel, are a little bit easier of a time to get off, at least that one time you want to get it off. And then you have the Rush. Technically, you could put Prockets on Rush too, but like, I wouldn't advise it unless you're going to hold your Prockets till you lose your shields, because like An I2 with rockets is not. You're not. I don't know. I
Rockets
guess
and
Keel
Predator,
gets
man,
it
just
off.
do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever, man. I don't know. You got to do some blocking, which you don't have. So you could put Rush in there with the Fanatical Predator Advanced Optics, which is the highest build that we see. And then we have Wrath. You could just choose Wrath as well in the Whisper with Predator, Marksmanship, Pattern Analyzer, and Ion Cannon. And Wrath is the double tapping ship if you meet all the conditions. We could probably make an argument that Wrath's only worth 4 points. But Wrath is a good 5-point ship if you want to run a little bit more AC style of a list. And then you have Hollow, right? And Hollow's been a thing. I didn't know Hollow showed up, but a lot of people like to run Hollow, it seems, with the Turium, Magpult, and Fanatical. What are you guys' thoughts on a 4-ship FO list? Is it viable? It seems to be showing up. So it is one of the higher rated lists in the
I would
faction.
say if you're going to bring Wrath, you should be bringing Kylo first. So only bring Wrath if you're also bringing Kylo Whisper.
Fair enough.
I just think Kylo's just above and beyond what Wrath can do, and then having a double jam Whisper really helps a 4-ship list because you can just jam everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jam.
I agree. And honestly, I think for the amount of work that Cody has put into his list, and him doing very well consistently with that list, this list can absolutely do a lot of work. I mean, it is 6 health for a lot of these ships, 5 for the Whispers, but you're able to arc dodge a lot, and honestly, you're going to evade 100% of the shots that you don't take, right? So if you're able to arc dodge, you're not taking those shots, so that low health is not going to matter anyway. And if you're able to eliminate your opponents, especially Kylo Ren, who has that force that's able to just focus on jamming and boosting to get that shot, you're able to really take advantage of that and set up your rest of your list for taking the shots into that list. It's definitely takes a lot of practice to get this right, because you do want to make sure, particularly for those whispers, that you get the bullseye as much as you can, and you can kind of mitigate that by using the Snaggletooth formation to line up the bullseyes a little easier, just having that odd angle. But yeah, it's definitely a very strong list, or archetype, I should say.
All right, with this list, what obstacles are you bringing? Does it really matter? Because most of the ships in here are AC. If you bring Blackout, you do technically want
I
bigger
I would say
rocks?
gas clouds.
Gas clouds?
Yeah, gas clouds. So you can still have some of the larger gas clouds, which are almost as big as the Pride of Mandalore rocks, especially like that bacon, which is a really long piece, provides a very long surface to fully fit a small base along the longer side of it, and allow Blackout to use his ability fairly easy. If you're bringing just Blackout in the chassis by himself, meaning you don't have like Rush, or you don't have Silencer Kylo in the list, you can put vector cannons, or sorry, not vector cannons, sensitive controls on Blackout. That helps him get into the obstacle and then barrel out if he needs to for the following turn. That is certainly a play style. You can try doing that for you. On the opposite side of it, if you're in a jam and you're going to have multiple locks on you from like a Alpha Strike list, go right through those, go right through the gas clouds, break all those locks. Sure, you'll be strained and possibly ionized, but your opponents are not going to have all important target lock on your ship, and you're likely to roll out of it anyway, and hopefully survive, and not having to worry about losing that precious resource of health for your ship. So I would definitely bring gas clouds for this list archetype.
All right. Objectives. I think the 4 or 5 ship list struggles in assault per se, because you want to be cagier. You're probably only taking 1 or 2 points in assault. A churn, probably just 1. You are good at contesting the points though. Because you are not linked to each other. None of you have to be by each other ever. Like it just never has to happen. And then crates, you're all. I think that's got to be the worst scenario. I don't know, guys. You think that's probably the worst scenario for that list?
Yeah, I think so.
Because no one wants to pick up a crate.
Yeah, no.
And then chance is fine. I think chance is okay because you're only giving up 2 points for half points. So the most you give up if you half point each of the ships is 8, which is pretty low. And if you can use the deuterium, it's pretty good in that list. What's the other scenario? Oh, scramble. I think you do okay in scramble, but the problem is you only have one ship that gets a mod. So really you're only scrambling with one ship unless nobody's looking at you. Or you have mods from your other turn. So there's no coordinator at all in this list at all.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're playing KG where you're only like trying to at minimum be in one single arc at a time. A lot of times, especially if you still have shields left, you can definitely sacrifice your action to scramble a charge, or like if you're in a silencer, for instance, you can scramble and then boost or barrel roll out of arc or into a better position. And still relying your natural agility to hopefully mitigate some of the damage that might be coming in there. So you definitely have some options there for scramble. Salvage, not so much. It just really neuters the flexibility of the list there. So they don't want to really touch a crate unless they absolutely need to. However, they will absolutely hunt down and shoot down your crate carrier at all costs. And with Malice on Kylo, he's gonna have a way to do it all the time.
All right. Any other thoughts on this list, on this style of list before we wrap this segment?
Be confident with your flying, because that is tough to do. That's about it. Good luck.
Yeah.
Have fun with FO.
Yeah, not your preferred choice, Alex.
I mean, if I was gonna do FO list, I'd probably just fly Cody's list because I love silencers. So, but yeah, I mean, FO's good. It's just a lot of people, unless you're in England, don't play them too much, so you don't get a lot of variety in terms of list building.
Yeah.
And I have lost my screen.
Oh no!
I have no idea what is on
Panic.
stream right now.
Everything seems to be normal.
Yeah,
I think it is.
You have the list up there. Yeah.
I can't switch to anything else. I've like entered some weird mode.
Panic.
Yeah. And just to answer the question in the chat for Mighty Southside Bandits, for us across the board, I think First Order came in about 4th place, right? For our rankings for First Order.
Yeah, I think I put them just ahead of CIS and Scum, and I think I was a little bit more down on them than you guys.
Yeah. I still think it's below Empire and Republic and Rebels, but higher than Scum and CIS. So, yeah.
It's not a lot of variety. Yeah, kind of samey. So you just gotta be really good at that kind of back swing, or you should probably play Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you want, you could go back and watch. We did an analysis faction ranking last week, beginning of the show. So if you want, you could go back and see that, and we will have that. I think I have a link in the description to it. Not sure. If not, you can message me on Discord and I can get you the link. With that being said, that concludes our Academy 101 analysis of First Order. With that being said, we're going to wrap up the show for tonight. I think 2 hours is pretty good, so not going to go over that. If you are in the Michigan, Grand Rapids area, the next store champ, I think, in Michigan is in Zealand. Please come out. It would be nice to get enough to get people to get a store champ kit given away. And I'll tell you what, if we can hit 32 people, I have 2 store kits at that store. We'll just do all of it. Be done with it. Just let's just give out 2 of them right away.
Yeah, let's do it.
That would be fun. Otherwise, we are going to try running a Fangs Out tournament because it's legal. I found out. I did not know this was legal to give out a store kit with a Fangs Out tournament. So
I already play Fangs Out naturally.
okay, well then you can come and have a great time because that's what it's going to be.
I'll just bring my scum list. No one will be like, "Oh God."
But we've been thinking about running a Fangs Out tournament in Michigan because I thought it would be fun to like kind of be very, set in what we do and force people to play faster, and maybe it would be smaller ship counts. I don't know. It might drive a different meta. But either which way, we have a store champ kit coming up the 11th, and I think that's the only one I know about in Michigan for the next month. And then there's Rust Cup if anyone's going to Rust Cup. I don't know if the Eastern Michigan people are going Rust Cup or not.
We are. We can poach some of you guys if you guys want to show up.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we're going to have a West Side team this year. I know Sean and I don't know, like Brendan and at least one other person was unavailable 100%. I'm still on the fence. I kind of still want to go. But I really need to get back with my wife.
I think if Zach's going to PAX, he can't go to Rust Cup. So
yeah, and I think that was the other thing is I won't be able to do both either. So I'm only going to get to do one. It's what happens when you have a family, I guess. So, but I don't know. I might not be able to go to PAX either because I haven't got my ticket and I haven't looked at plane prices yet. And I don't think it's cheap.
alarmingly expensive.
Like,
yeah.
If the plane tickets somehow are cheap enough, I might still try to squeeze that weekend out because I think it would be fun to go to PAX because I've never been, and we can hang out with the Yaxby people.
Yep.
Which is kind of what I wanted to do.
And you'll have a ride from me from the airport, so I'll be there.
Yeah. Can I sleep on your couch there? Or do you live in that area? You don't live in that area.
No. I'm an 8-hour drive, but we'll definitely bunk up. That's fine.
Hey, your wife's gonna be super happy if your wife comes. If your wife doesn't come,
it might be just me. It might be just me. So yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then we should definitely talk. Anyway.
Yeah,
but thank you all for joining us tonight. We will be back next week with episode 123. We will be finishing up our meta-analysis with CIS and Scum. The 2 top factions that we so much enjoyed tonight. We will be covering the top lists. We're going to cover the top lists that show up in there, and I think Alex's list actually shows up as one of the top Scum lists.
Hell yeah, baby. It should.
So we're gonna be covering top Scum lists and top CIS lists next week, as well as some other fun stuff. With that being said, thank you. Have a good night, and we will see you on the flippity flop.
Have a good night, everybody.